Hey, what's up, people? Dimitris Scoperiti here. Today we're gonna talk about the Valeton GP-200X. The Valeton GP-200X is basically the new version of the Valeton 200. The X stands for anniversary version. It looks pretty close to the original one. The colors are different, so it looks kind of more fancy. The functionality is more or less the same, except that we have some more extra patches made directly from the artist, including your truly. So there is one patch which is called Demetrio S, which is my lead channel. So I think it's a very good idea, since I believe that the artist comparing to people making the effects, they have a different overview and they can actually enrich the value of those modelers or products in general. Everything is connected to a software, as you can see, and you can direct the whole unit from the software, but you can also do it directly from the unit, of course. This machine, the GP-200X, is a really good modeler for practicing, for playing in the studio, and for playing live. Practicing because, you know, I think it's the best ever to be able to practice with your own sound. And the second thing is really good for recording because, of course, it's both modular and audio interface, and the sound is brilliant. And it's great for playing live, of course, because you can bring your own sound made with different layers of amplifiers and whatever on the stage, just in a small bag, in a back bag. But let's get into that and let's see the features of this machine. As you can see here in the software, the interface more or less reflects the same visuals of the machine. On the top, basically you can load in the impulse response, which I honestly didn't do it. The impulse response already in the machine are pretty good. And then you can activate the drum machine, choose which kind of style you want. For example, you want to play something, I don't know, something rock and roll, classic rock. Or, okay, something hard rock. Or you can decide to play on the click. In this case, you go to metronome, 1/4 or whatever. You choose the kind of metronome you want, the tempo, the volume of that. You can choose the size of this interface and different other things. And then you have the patch list here on the right. You can see those are my patches, the one that I did already with the GP-200. And at 26D, you can find my solo patch, my lead patch, already when you buy the machine, which for me is a great honor. With delay. So we can check out this patch, let's say. We can start from this, analyzing. This noise that you hear in the background is a great noise to have because it's the same that you used to have back in the day with the amplifiers. High gain, no noise gate. But if you want to have a noise gate, you can of course go here and, noise reductor, and make sure that the machine is just playing when you are playing. I usually don't use a noise reductor on the solo, because usually if you don't find the right compromise, which is very difficult to find it because it varies from one song to another one, it kind of cuts you off on the solos. Then we have the volume pedal, which is the same, is connected to the pedal that you have on the unit, of course, as everything else. Then you have a preamp wah that I'm not using in this patch. Of course, the wah it can be used with the pedal, of course, that you have here on the machine. Then I have a distortion pedal, which is an overdrive. It's a tube screamer. I have an amp, which is of course the best amp of all times. 5150 Van Halen signature amp. The cab, which is 4x12, as the original Eddie Van Halen 5150 cab. And then no EQ, no modulation, and then I have a delay because the lead channel, the solo channel, and then I have a reverb, which is more the sound of the room, the artifact of the sound of the room. And of course you have different other patches, of colleagues and friends and other great artists. So let's check out some clean. I have a clean channel, which I did, as you know, before, when I used to use the GP-200, the regular version. And this is called Dimitri Ethereal. By the way, I'm playing an Inspiria Guitars DLP6 multi-output with the new multi-output pickup, which gives you the opportunity to play, to divide every single pickup in two different pickups using the upper and the lower part and mixing those two parts together. So basically you have double possibilities when it comes to switching from one pickup to another one. You can mix up a part of a pickup together with the part of another pickup. And I suggest to go and check out the video that I did last week about it. It's going to be linked here. On this patch we have, as you can see, the volume, and then the amp is a Fender Tweed Deluxe. The cab is a Deluxe vintage Fender Champ 1/8 cab, pretty old school. And then I have an EQ, modulation, of course, as usual, a little bit of chorus, and this is the G chorus, which is based on the legendary huge ensemble chorus pedal born in late 1970s chorus mode, producing rich, shimmering vintage analog chorus tone, warm, rich, and dreamlike analog chorus sound. That's great. And then we have the reverb, which of course is mostly the sound of the room, so the mix is 50%, decay is 86, and pre-delay is 25 milliseconds. And it's called room, by the way, because that's what I mean. It's nothing too heavy, it's just a little bit of room to get a little bit of attack off the sound. And then I can show you a crunch, a blues crunch. Then I have another crunch, which is also blues crunch, but this is the lead version of it. Also, I did some patches, the same patches. I did that for the reamping. I have the feeling every time I reamp it might be to some of the gear that I have in the studio that I lose a little bit of gain sometimes. So I kind of do other patches which are based on the one that I used to play, also for reamping, and this is the case for this, which honestly I guess just playing through, it doesn't feel there is any different. But when it comes to reamp, it's based on the main lead, but with a little bit more gain and high frequencies for it, because they are the first that you actually lose when you do a reamp between the passage from the computer to the audio interface, the machine, the computer again, and so on. You know. This is a dry clean. Multi-output. Sounds brilliant. Of course, you have plenty of possibilities when it comes to amplifiers. You have every kind of amplifier you want. So for me, I'm more like a guy who likes to have in progressive metal 5150 PV and on the clean a Fender amplifier. But for all the guitar nerds in the world, you have everything you want. You know, you can just go banana and upload your own impulse response. You know, according to the one that better works for you. You can see here there is a great display up here, and which can be basically edited with those knobs here. This is the let's say the bass, the volume, and the volume of the patch, you know, and then you can choose all the different parameters. And in this case, you can use this for moving from one patch to another one. Here you have the global in order to access to every single feature that you have, and the factory reset, and you know some explanation about the firmware and all this, you know, a lot of different stuff, or the foot switch possibilities. In fact, you can use, of course, expression pedals and stuff like that, and you know, this is the back, and then we have the drums, the save buttons, and then you have like all the volume, gain, presence, like a real amplifier, bass, middle, and treble. Master volume, also the pedal. This volume pedal is basically directing the amount of gain that you're gonna get into the modular from the guitar. It's basically like a guitar volume knob. And then you have bank up and bank down. and here you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So every bank has basically 4 different possibilities. You know, you have a pattern with 4 different patches, and then you can go up to the next bank. The control, basically you can use it in different ways. One of those is holding for getting the looper. So basically you get here the looper. So let's move to bass. Let's try to work something out. First of all, we're gonna tune the bass. So we have the tuner there in 440. You can decide if you want to have it in mute, or if you want to have it as a bypass, or if you want to have the actual patch on. I like it in mute, honestly. So we tune the bass and we go out of the tuner with this. Now we have a guitar patch, but we're gonna make a bass patch. Let's find a spot. Let's say we want to do it here. All right. So first thing, we need to find out what amplifier to use. So we go to the amp section and we go look for an amp between the ones that are here in the list. I want to do something pretty easy. So classic bass, which I believe it's an Ampeg. Yes, this is the Ampeg SVT bass amp, launched in 1969. Always been the most mainstream bass speaker. It has a strong ability to sound shape. Okay, sounds pretty good to me. Of course, it's kind of very flat at the moment. But let's work it out. Let's add the cab. Great. So we have cab and amp. Perfect combination. Low cut, high cut, volume. All right. Then we move to a little bit of reverb, just a tiny bit, not that much. Let me see. Metal bass. What we can do is we actually add a distortion pedal in front. So we switch this off, we go to distortion. Yeah, there we go. Try out this bass hammer. Wow. Way too much distortion, so we can go down with gain and get a little bit more attack. So you have a lot of possibilities. So maybe you want to have something more like, let's say, mellow for a melodic song or whatever, so you keep everything clean and you add some chorus, you know, like this. So at the end of the day, I think that Valeton, they delivered that again. And this GP-200X 10 years anniversary version is a great tool for working in the studio, live, and for practicing as well. And it's also a good alternative to your audio interface, especially if you have a mobile workstation. So thank you very much for following me. I see you soon.